I was trying to explain that I wanted to use this 3/16 by 3 inches piece of steel as a top portion of the bumper. I went ahead and changed that mostly for the reason because I didn't want to be dealing with adding more sheet metal. So what I ended up doing was that from my big chunk of steel over there, I cut a secondary piece of 3/16 steel and 5 inches wide, and basically have two that are 5 inches wide. The deal is that sorry, these measure 60 inches in length total each, and they were about 6 inches shy, more or less, from the edge of each side of the body, from where I want them to sit at. So I want to try to patch up a little bit of another additional 3-inch by 3-inch little squares, or 3x5 little pieces of steel right here, right next to it. Try to patch it in there, and let's see if we can make it work like that. What I did end up doing is that, since I'm not able to reuse my tow hitch, what I am going to be doing is that I do want to have a kind of sort of a flush receiver hitch. Now I understand that the tow rating on my Jeep is not the best. It's not a dually or diesel truck or pickup truck or anything for cargo. It has a 5,000 maximum towing capacity, being that it is lifted, and it does have the 33-inch tires. That towing capacity is greatly reduced. Like I had said before, it did manage to tow a big Durango, lifted with big tires as well, but that's probably as far as its limits. Now, what I have here is one of these reducers, 2.5 to 2-inch reducers. I want to go ahead and see if I can use this, mount this halfway, weld it in here, bottom and the rear, and see what other way I can support this to here. And these ones are going to be tied in, which, as you can already see, sorry, these ones are hot. I just burned these in. This is 1/4-inch steel. This is 3/16 steel. So this should be able to hold. As far as being able to tow 5,000 pounds, I doubt it. Just want to be able to mount a little bit of a cargo hitch to it, maybe move a little bit of a small little 6-foot trailer at the most around town. Nothing crazy with it. So this should be okay. So the way that this is going to be burnt in is that you can see my sort of still crappy welds. I'm still trying to learn this. I'm still a hobbyist. As you can see, these are not the best welds ever, and I don't know when I'll get any better. They do penetrate quite a bit, so I'm happy with that. I still need to weld them in through the back. The next thing for me to do is that these ones right here. This is what's going next onto those mounts. Sorry. I will try to see how good I can weld them in. Now, I'm going to try to clean up the surface a little bit more, and because this is a little bit rounded at this corner right here, these will probably have to get ground down here to make it a little bit roundish. Stick out more or less right here, get burnt in all the way, secure them down. I do not know yet if I want to go ahead and try to make a cut back here or something to try to give it an additional support back there. This should be sturdy enough. The next plate is that the 5-inch plate is going to be up here. It's going to flush right here. It's going to have a 1-inch section right here, and then another 5-inch at the front, at the face. So I'll keep you guys posted, and let's see how this goes. All right. Okay, this is what we got so far. As y'all can see my contraption here, this is my 2x4, 3-inch 3/16 flat flat bar. I'm gonna go with that. I forgot the name. Okay, so remember I was telling you guys I had those mounts that I found on eBay. Well, dang it. Oh, my pit bull over there, she's a little upset. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing. Since I did want to make it as sturdy as possible, kind of like a one-piece type of thing, this is what I ended up doing with it. I ended up notching it out. The 2x4 has a notch about halfway through. I measured it from the bottom because that's a true 2-inch measurement. Since this was a 2x4 and this piece right here is also a 2x4, so I measured it from there. This one is also measured from the bottom to the top, 2 inches, notched out, just so that it is able to sit and slide in perfectly. Okay, now it also needed a small notch for here and here because of the curvature of the rectangular tubing, or former rectangular tubing, and also left it a little bit loose so give it a little bit of room to adjust once we're in the vehicle, or once we're inside the Jeep. These ones I will be putting on some nuts back here, weld them on there. These are my welds. These are my mounts. They're about 7.5 inches long. They're sticking up about 3 inches from the this edge right here, which is also this edge right here, about 3 inches out. That way it will accommodate for the 3/16, and it still has 2-inch change, so that the shackles themselves can actually sit on there perfectly fine. These are my welds. This is 5/8 inch steel welded onto 1/4 inch. This son of a bitch is hard to weld on there. As you can see, my welds aren't the greatest, but they do penetrate all the way through. As you can see, that's welded in there pretty good. A little bit more of my crappy welds. These aren't ground down. Well, some parts have been ground down, like these, and some more obvious ones, but for the most part, those are my welds. I know they're not perfect. They still have some porosity in there, but for the most part, they penetrate pretty okay. And more porosity, as I was telling you. This is on the other side. This one, the welds are also pretty okay. They do penetrate, but you have more porosity, like right here. Over here, the porosity in some of these pieces was a little bit more harsh, which where you can see this is the first pass up here, and I ended up having to do a second pass. This was at 200 amps on my stick welder, so I did my best to burn them in as best as I could. I was very tempted to cut a piece right here somewhere along the line so I could weld it through the back, but I think this should be okay. This also will be reinforced a little bit furthermore with a little bit of angle iron here in this section, be able to hold it up a little bit better. These ones will have to get ground down a little bit, of course. And these are some more of my welds. Cleaned it up a little bit where the nuts will be welded on at a later time. This is about the 3rd or 4th day that I've been recording this. Okay, it's been a few days. I haven't had much time to work on this project, or whatever you want to call that I'm doing here. This hack job, if you want to. Okay, so remember how I had been telling you guys that I wanted to use the JCR strips mounted on this portion, on the inner portion of the rail of the unibody. Well, I hadn't thought about it very well. Since I am putting these plates right here, that's gonna be a no-go. So what I did was that I welded grade 8 nuts 1/2 inch pitch 13 onto this portion right here. Matched them as best as I could to this. So they're on there, they're welded, they're sort of held it in there. They still a little bit, they need more adjustment, sorry about that. As you can see, still need some more adjusting to do. Trying to get through it as best as I can. Another thing I did, well, these ones are measured out. They're centered in between those holes right there. Sorry about that. So that you can, you know, when it's time to weld it on there, they just sit there and you're able to support the bumper with those, you know, but it won't be the main support. The main support would be down here, which eventually will have another piece of flat bar right under there, give it a little bit more extra strength. Kind of just sandwich the unibody in there. Okay, those are going to be grade 8 nuts. These ones up here, I don't think, because it's kind of useless to replace them with grade 8 nuts. I might replace them with new nuts, but as far as any strength, that those they really won't be having any strength into them. At least I'm not hoping they will, if all goes according to plan. So next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna put this piece of flat of 3/16 plate that I had cut. This is 5 inches wide. I added a little piece of 3-inch to each side, which makes it about roughly 66 inches, 66 and a half, more or less, just to give me some room to play with. This is gonna be mounted, gonna be put in here like this. So the measurement that I'm using is gonna be the one right here. From D-ring mount to D-ring mount, because it's not gonna sit directly on here. If not, I would have a big giant gap, and about 1/2 inch total with each side together, and that's not gonna work out. So I wanted to get as close as I can to this right here, so that I can bring it, weld onto here, and then weld onto the back, and then weld in here, and probably be stitch weld up here, and just to try to do a complete weld down here. That is the plan. Of course, we're still gonna do the receiver hitch as best as we can. So I got the center of this, which is right here. The measurement between this and this was about 35 3/4, I believe it was. Of course, this is in my case. I got the center of that, which was 17 3/8. So from here, 17 3/8, 17 3/8 over here. This plate I wanted to sit up to right here, right at this top portion of the D-ring mount, because it's gonna have another piece of 1-inch flat bar and give it a little bit more, take off that boxy look on it. So it's gonna be from here to here to this height, and this from this top portion to this is about 1 inch. I mean, sorry, about 3 inches. So we measured about 3 inches down. This right here, the D-ring mount's about 3/4 inches thick. So that's gonna be the thickness that we're gonna be cutting on each side. Of course, this way, not this way, because then, you know, it'd be defeating the purpose. Then we bring it up here and weld it, or at least tack weld it. Hopefully, the reason I had this here, this angle finder, was because I was looking at my angles a little bit. I want to get this as straight as I can. This is very close to 90 degrees, if not right at 90. Maybe needs a little bit more this way. Sorry about that. And you'll have a full 90 degree. Just whatever. This one, however, this one is at least a whole 5 degrees off. So hopefully the measurement that I had gotten was from this portion right here. So hopefully it'll push it back this way. This top portion, it'll straighten it out, and hopefully we'll get as close as to 90 as we can. Of course, we're gonna take the measurement again and adjust as needed.